Your great-grandparents had a bacterium in their gut that helped their brain want to connect with other people. The reality is you probably don't even have it anymore, and neither does your child. It's been vanishing from the human gut for decades, quietly, steadily, and almost no one is talking about it. But what it does, specifically what it does for social connection, might be the most important thing I've ever shared. Stay with me on this one. The bacteria is called Lactobacillus reuteri, and in the 1960s, researchers found it in about a third of the entire global population. It showed up in virtually every mammal and bird they tested. They called it the universal gut bacterium. Universal as in it was supposed to be there. Today, over 90% of the people in the Western world no longer carry it. 90%. A bacterium that was once standard equipment in the human gut nearly wiped out in a few generations. You're probably wondering how. Antibiotics, processed foods, C-section births, formula feeding, and here's what most people don't realize. Each generation passes a slightly more depleted microbiome to the next. Your grandmother had it, your mother had less of it, and your child may have none of it. Think of it like a family inheritance. Grandma had a full bank account. Mom inherited half, and by the time it reaches your kid, the account is nearly empty. And what's missing in that account is directly connected to social behavior. Let me show you why. But first, quick question. You know that warm feeling you get when someone you love walks through the door? That pull towards your best friend at a party? That little rush of, I want to be near this person? That's not just an emotion. That is your brain chemically rewarding you for connecting with another human being. There's a molecule behind that feeling. It's called oxytocin. Now, most people hear oxytocin and think baby showers and hugging, but that's like calling electricity the thing that turns on lights. It does so much more than that. Oxytocin is the master key to your brain's social reward system. Here's how it works. When oxytocin gets released during a social interaction, it plugs directly into the dopamine neurons in your brain's reward center, and it creates a feeling, a very specific feeling. That felt good. I want more of that. That's what makes connections feel worth pursuing. Now imagine that system is turned way down, almost to zero. The band is on stage, the crowd is cheering, the lights are on, everything looks right, but the speakers are unplugged. Your brain can't hear the music. No pull, no warmth, no signal that says lean in. And from the outside, that looks like a child who stays on the edges, who doesn't seek out other kids, who seems disinterested. But here's the thing that every parent needs to hear. It's not that they don't want to connect. Their brain isn't getting the reward signal that tells them connection feels good. It's a big difference. And the bacterium that helps generate that signal, it's the one that's been disappearing. Researchers at Baylor College of Medicine spent 10 years mapping this pathway. And what they found is unlike anything I've come across. L. reuteri, sitting inside the gut, activates the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the entire body. It runs from your intestines all the way up your brainstem. Think of it as a direct phone line between the gut and the brain. There's no operator, no hold music, no middleman, a hardwired straight shot connection. And this bacterium picks up that phone, dials the hypothalamus, the exact region of the brain that produces oxytocin. Gut bacteria, phone line, brain. Oxytocin, social reward, one unbroken chain. But here's where researchers did something that stopped me cold. They cut the vagus nerve, severed the phone line completely. The bacteria were still there. They were still alive, still doing its thing in the gut, but without that connection to the brain, every single social benefit disappeared. Then they blocked the oxytocin receptors on the dopamine neurons. Same result. Both ends of the chain are required. It's like having a brand new power plant, generating more electricity than a city could ever use, but every transmission line is down. The energy is being made, but it has no way to get to where it needs to go. They also discovered something I didn't expect. L. reuteri boosts a metabolite in the gut called BH4. And BH4, it's a mandatory building block in your body that's used to produce dopamine and serotonin, two of the most critical neurotransmitters in your child's brain. BH4 alone was enough to reverse social deficits in their models. So it's one bacterium, multiple mechanisms, all pointing in the same direction: social connection. They tested this across 4 completely different mouse models of autism: genetic, environmental, even mice born with 0 gut bacteria. L. reuteri restored social behavior in every single one, and it didn't need to rebuild the entire microbiome to do it. It worked like a single key opening a very specific lock. Now, the human evidence. There's only been one published clinical trial so far, but it's double-blind, placebo-controlled, 43 children with autism over 6 months. Here's what happened. Overall autism severity scores didn't change. Repetitive behaviors didn't change. But social functioning, social communication, social motivation, and the desire to engage with other people, that showed real measurable improvement. The improvement was specific to social connection, which matches the animal research exactly. This bacterium doesn't appear to be broad-spectrum fix for everything. It targets the social reward pathway precisely. Researchers also found that children with autism have significantly lower levels of L. reuteri compared to typically developing kids, which supports everything we just walked through. And I need to be honest with you about something. When I first found this research, I didn't just read it, I sat with it for a long time, because as a dad who watched my son pull away, saw him sit on the edges while other kids played, who spent years trying to understand why connection didn't seem to come naturally for him, learning that a bacterium our great-grandparents carried, one that's been quietly disappearing from the human gut for decades, could influence the exact circuit responsible for wanting to be around other people people, that didn't just change how I thought about gut health, it changed how I thought about everything. Now look, I'm not going to tell you this is a cure for autism. It's not. And anyone selling it that way isn't being honest with you. This is emergent science. One clinical trial, strong preclinical data, a compelling mechanism, but it's still early. What I will tell you is this: as a potential support for social functioning is one piece of a much bigger puzzle, the evidence is worth knowing about. And it's one of the reasons why L. reuteri is a featured strain inside BioHeal Pro Plus. Not because it's trendy, not because it checks a marketing box, because the research behind what the specific bacterium does for social reward is like anything I've ever seen. Talk to your child's healthcare provider, research, ask questions, be an advocate, stay curious. This research is moving, and I believe it's moving somewhere that matters deeply for our kids. I'm rooting for you. Like, share, and follow for more.